It's another Elsie's Little Pickles for all you pickle people, you pickle potters. We are here again through another week of insanity. We have made it, and we are here for you. So,
some people use lube, we use a brine.
Yes. Nothing like a brine. So, again, another interesting week. This week wasn't as bad as I thought it would be as far as like the horrific news stories after what we came off of.
Well, there's been some pickup in the Biden camp. I don't think people see Biden as having done as horrible as the knee-jerk reaction was. That's what I've been seeing.
Yeah, but his Stephanopoulos interview didn't help him any.
No.
So I think that those of us who were terrified, of what the debate performance was, and then, seeing the Stephanopoulos, it didn't do much to soothe my concerns, at least. So, I mean, there's like nine prominent, I think it's 9 prominent Democrats that are already like, you got to go. And I think that after this weekend and this coming week, it will be interesting to see if that donor class doesn't push the buttons that hit the ejection seat for his presidency.
Don't you think, though, that could be a huge mistake?
Quite possibly, yeah. Like I said, I think that realistically, there's been a lot of bedwetting around this issue, but I don't know. I honestly, at this point, I don't know. Even if he had a cognitive...
You look like you're just tired of the whole thing.
I am.
Hey, can we just get this over with?
I am. I'm tired of the whole fucking thing. I'm tired of Trump. I'm tired of Biden. I want some new blood. I want somebody that is looking out for the best interest of our country, not just somebody that's trying to hold on to power or re-grab power. I think that we're just at a point in this country where whatever happens... Okay, no matter which way it goes, right? If Biden stays in and wins, or Biden stays in and he loses and Trump wins, no matter what way we go, we're at a very transformative point in this country. I think that we are.
Well,
we're just.
I think also to piggyback on that, you and I are at an interesting age where we kind of want some sort of candidate that is in our age range.
Yeah.
Instead of being not even the generation before us, but that generation before that one.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely, both of them. But I do think that we're at a point where there's going to be, whatever happens in November, it's going to have a very transformative effect on the country. And if we stay with Biden, I don't think he makes it through a second term. I honestly don't. I don't know that he'll make it through this term. But with that being said, I think that if Trump gets in office, we'll definitely go through a transformation. It just won't be a positive one. I think that is definitely a road towards an authoritarian who will at some point try to be a dictator. And he's already said
it's like watching a Netflix series that might be canceled.
Yeah, it's like that's a great analogy, because it's like you're enjoying the shit out of it, but you think, I don't want to get invested in this because there's not going to be a second season. This is just tickling me,
Yeah.
And you typically know. Let's say that it's a complete full season dump. By episode 5 whether or not it's going to get picked up again. You can kind of tell. And
whether or not it gets picked up again, but you also realize that there's only like 3 episodes left, and you're like,
right. I have found a number of shows that I've watched over the years where I'm all in and thinking everything's going to be great, and I get that cliffhanger at the end of season 1 or season 2 or whatever, and it doesn't get picked back up. And I'll give you an example of, what was it? Firefly. That was one where that for me was like, this is a great show. I'm enjoying it. And then it didn't get picked up for the final season. How dare you? How dare you do that to us viewers? You know what I mean? Like, at least with that, they went back and then they did the movie so they could tie up all the loose ends. But
the king of Tulsa.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
No, I've seen it advertised, but I never watched it.
Fantastic season 1. No clue if there's a season 2 coming yet.
Right.
It's already been like 2 or 3 years.
That's what really
just
pisses me off. You know, and that's the other thing is like they got away with that shit with Game of Thrones where they basically, what was it, a full year or 2 before they did season 8 or whatever. And then it's like by that point, I was like, I don't know if I'm even interested anymore. You know, like quit teasing me.
Or you see one of the actors on another show and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's the big one. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know, man. It's the same thing though with this is like, if the choice is Biden or Trump, which clearly it is, and once the conventions are over, that's a done deal, and we all know what's going to happen. And so, I mean, you got the Republican convention. I don't even know when the Democrat convention's coming. Do you?
Isn't it July?
I don't even know.
Oh shit! This is July.
This is July. Fuck. Yeah. The Republicans is like in a week, I think. What was it? Well, no, it's this coming week is the Republican one. But once that's done, once both conventions are done, that's when states start printing up ballots and shit like that. So I don't know. But to me, it seems like it's a binary decision. And you know, I would say that instead of saying the lesser of two evils, I would say that it's a choice between, you know, the end of the Republic and the Republic continuing. So even if you don't like Biden, hold your nose, pull the trigger and vote for Biden. If you like what you have, you know, I mean, if you like what you have, that's the only way to go, because the other side's making it pretty clear, like whether it comes out of Trump's mouth or not, you know, his supporters are pretty clear about where they want things to go. And I don't even think, like, when you get down to like the MAGA on the ground, you know, just the average person that is a supporter, I don't think that they fully understand what it would mean.
You know what I am sick of? I am sick of hearing, well, something has to be done about this inflation. Inflation is just way out of hand. You know, it's all of Biden's fault. No, it's a global problem. It is not just the United States.
It's not just a global. Yeah, it's not just a global problem. It's also.
And if you're really upset about inflation and how you can't get by, maybe you should look at what company you work for.
Yeah, and what they're doing, contributing to the problem. You know, I'll give you the simplest example of that. Okay, simplest example.
Absolutely, go for it.
Walmart, Kroger, any grocery store that's large, Meijer, even getting into like large, you know, kind of like department type stores like Kohl's and JCPenney and all that. All of them have introduced, like, so they'll have like 50 lanes of where cashiers should be, right? Those are all closed except for 2 or 3.
Yeah. Why even have them anymore?
I don't even know why they have them anymore. Why did you waste the money putting those in, right? And then they have, on either side of that, they'll have the self-checkout, okay? So I've always been against self-checkout, just like I've always been against bringing a cart in from the parking lot. And I'll tell you why. If I bring a cart in from the parking lot, I'm taking away the opportunity for that company to hire 16, 17, 18-year-old kid who might get their first experience as having a job, right? Yeah. And you know it's going to be a shitty paying job. You know, you don't go there as a kid thinking I'm going to make millions, you know, but that's like, aside from fast food, it's an opportunity for them to get first time employment experience. The same could be said of the middle to elderly aged people who typically end up working as a cashier at the grocery store, right? So I've always wanted to go through the line for a number of reasons. One, I don't like, if I got produce, I don't like having to look that shit up on the fucking self-checkout. And 2, I want them...
I don't know what kind of potato this is. It just looks delicious.
It's a fucking potato.
Is it a russet? Is it an Idahoan? Is it a sweet potato? I don't know what this is.
You are a hoeing. So most importantly, that one of those kids who is working the carts would also be a bagger. Okay? So you have baggers, and beyond that...
Let me get a napkin to wipe off my computer. I got it wet with that one. I just figured since, everybody just heard me open up a can which I did for effect, but I ended up spraying my keyboard.
So,
oops.
So the worst part about this is that bagger job, which is a twofold job, bagger and cart, getting carts, that's gone if you're doing self-checkout. On top of that, if you're doing self-checkout, you're also taking the opportunity, because a lot of grocery stores, they still do it to some degree, but most, again, everyone's going to self-checkout. So you're also taking the opportunity for somebody who is, maybe a Down's child. How many times our cousin, as an example, works as a bagger, and if they go to full self-checkout, he won't have a job anymore. I mean, that's just the way it works. So that's my mentality.
Well, and you get the people, that stand at the doors and check your receipts when you self-checkout. And it's like, if you're not going to check me out and you don't trust me to do it, go fuck yourself.
Well, beyond that, why am I not getting a discount? Why am I not getting fucking, 5%, 10% off? Or getting extra gas points or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, why?
Domino's does that.
Yeah.
Domino's gives you like a couple of bucks for picking it up and, put towards the next pizza.
Exactly. Why am I not getting some sort of credit? Because you're making more money because you're not paying $15, $20 an hour or whatever. It's probably more like 12, but you're not paying that to 20, 30 people to bag and get carts in. So you're pocketing their money. That's just going right to your bottom line. That's going to your profit. So fuck you. All right. Let's instead hire people. And if you can't hire people, because I understand that too, a lot of these places are having a hard time hiring people because no one wants those jobs. Well, no one wants those jobs for a number of reasons. One, dealing with the public sucks ass because the public is just full of fucking morons and assholes. All right. That are rude and fucking just shitty fucking
bad
people.
Hot dog. What's in hot dogs? Lips and assholes.
Yeah.
This is a bad hot dog.
So I get that it's more difficult, but maybe if you were paying better, the people that are doing the job would have more patience with these assholes. So I lay the inflation issue solely at the feet of corporate America. I think that they realized during COVID that they could keep supply low and demand high. And in the course of doing that, you had shrinkflation. So you had them putting less product in the bags.
Gatorade, I'm looking at you.
Yeah. You're seeing that with the chips. It's smaller quantities but they're charging more. Again, we need to get our corporations under control. We need a president that can do that. And I just don't see that happening with either of them because Trump's not going to do it because he's all about big business and corporations. Biden's not going to do it because, I don't know that he can do anything at this point anymore. It's like...
I'm still going to vote for him. I don't care if he is duct taped to a board because he's dead.
Yeah, I'm with you.
He is a better president.
Even if it's not him being president, even if it's just his cabinet and staff that are running the show, or Jill Biden running the show.
That's the way it usually goes. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, I think that has been how it has gone, not how it usually goes. But I mean, the fact of the matter is that you're sitting in a position where, if you look at this vote, right? If you look at this vote that's coming up, everyone's who thinks that Biden should step aside. I don't know that they know the history of this, right? The last time we had somebody in the White House that was a one term and then, chose to step aside, not voted out, was LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Yep.
And what people don't realize, I don't think, is that was unusual. That was but it's a good thing that he did because apparently he realized that, he would probably win because he was the incumbent, but he was involved with the Vietnam War, and he knew that was very stressful, and he was having some health issues, specifically his heart, and he decided that by the time he got out, he wouldn't be able to enjoy much of his retirement based on his health. Well, it was a good thing that he did that because, if I'm not mistaken, he died on Inauguration Day 4 years after he left office. So had he stayed in office and won again, the very day that he was supposed to, would have finished his second term, he dropped dead. So at least he got that 4 years of retirement and time with family and not having to have the stress of running the country.
And he had some time running the country from the toilet.
Yeah,
where he gave his interviews.
You gotta love a guy that's like, you know what? I'm gonna take a shit. You want to talk to me? Doors open. And I mean, talk about somebody that could intimidate. God damn, you got. Yeah.
What do you think about what's going on in Vietnam? What's your stance on
it? President getting interviewed while he's on the shitter. Oh, you gotta love that.
Yeah,
you gotta love that. That's when times were better.
Just want to point out that he was a Texan.
Yeah, and it makes sense when you know that. But
yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be. I think the game's over after the Democrat convention. I don't think that there's going to be any changes.
You ever see the video of the long distance runner taking a shit while he was running?
No. Yeah. No. I imagine.
Doesn't skip a beat. Just keeps running.
Did he have his ass hanging out?
Texas.
Was his ass hanging out, or like no, he just shit and it just fell out of his pants or shorts, or
he kind of jumped, like did a little beep.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well,
when you got to go, you got to go.
Yeah, and let's be honest, Trump has got to go. He's got to go. We need somebody that's going to be able to put
take a Trump.
Well, yeah, it's just there's no good that will come out of him moving forward. And I say that because I believe you have a news story on this. The man behind Project 2025. I don't know if you heard this.
But before we even get there, let's tease that.
Okay.
Let me get this news story out of the way, because you'll be interested in this.
Okay.
And I'm creating a cliffhanger, if you will. But this current news story is that we've been canceled and you won't be able to get that news story. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. So sorry.
A UFO has been spotted above a concert venue in Colorado.
The Red Rocks one, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, see, you did see this news story.
I did see this.
God damn you.
You know it's tough to get one by me.
You reading motherfucker.
I am.
That's what I get for having a reading motherfucker brother. Yeah.
That was a cool story, though. That was a cool story.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, the guy says, I was working at the Red Rocks Amphitheater, which I wouldn't mind going. There's a particular show I would love to see there, which is Highland. But says, I was working at Red Rocks Amphitheater last night when we were getting stoned, and one of our coworkers suddenly said to us, "Hey, what is that over there? It looks like a spaceship." The employee said in the report. I added the stone part just for context, because that's what you do there. We all turned and looked in the direction, and he was pointing, and sure enough, there was a UFO hovering about a half a mile to a mile north of Red Rocks. A dozen of us saw it, and we all kept asking each other, "Did you pass the joint yet? And are you seeing this too?" It was a resounding yes from everyone.
You just had to keep slipping in the pot references. That's not part of the story.
Something in what? I don't know what you're talking about.
You're not going to get a job.
I know nothing.
You're not going to get a job at any good news network. Oh, wait, there are none.
They'd be lucky to have me.
They would be. There are none left. Yeah, so
It was not a plane. It was not a satellite. It might have been a doobie, a drone, or anything like that, but there was no mistaking what it was. We all saw a giant roach clip, disc-shaped craft hovering a few feet, 100 feet above the ground with 3 rows of windows and lights. What?
yeah,
I didn't even see that part.
that's what I was getting to, was the fact that they,
Rows of windows and lights.
yeah, windows. Isn't that great? I don't know if it doesn't say in the story, though, that they could actually see anything in it, but they did say they saw the windows.
Let me get this straight. So we are to believe that quite possibly, not only have we been visited by aliens, but they have now opened commercial flights. Come and see these walking, talking, hairless apes and how they're fucking up this planet. See it now while you can.
Yeah, because they know what's coming. They know what's coming. That I actually like that story, mainly because of the lights, or not the lights, the windows. I don't think I've ever heard anyone before. I'm sure they have, but I just don't know about it. Speaking of the actual windows, so I don't know. What's your take on that? You think that they actually saw it, or you think that they were? Do you think that they were high?
Well, I know that they were high
because it's Colorado.
Look at Red Rocks. Yeah, it's Colorado. It's Red Rocks. What else you got to do than do some mushrooms or smoke some dope? And may I see your ticket, please? Here's
yeah,
your wristband.
That's true.
Tickets, please. Here's your wristband.
Yeah. I wish it would. I hope it's true.
Just saying.
I hope it's true. At least that would, maybe change the narrative of what's going on in the news. Like, we need a big event like that. We need, like, where it's. You remember the Arizona Lights story?
Yes.
Okay. That took the country by storm, and specifically Arizona. But we need a big fucking mass sighting in this country to kind of make us wake up again and be unified and kind of like stop talking about Trump and Biden. I'm so fucking sick of them. So tired of it.
Give us something to talk about, please.
Yeah, just fucking land already. I'll take the anal probe. I don't care. Just fucking land. Get me off of this fucking planet. What are you going to do?
Also, to keep teasing that other headline, there's a news story that says amid his first visit to Taiwan, Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced on Sunday the opening of a Texas-Taiwan Trade Representative Office in Taipei to strengthen business and economic ties between the state and the island, and definitely not to get high.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. I don't think. I mean, unless there's more to it.
Just a little weird.
Well, I mean, look, Taiwan makes a lot of great products, and I don't know if he's going there to try to get manufacturing, or if he's doing it just for trade, or I don't know what the story is behind it. I'm always a little bit suspicious of Abbott, but.
Well, I'm always really suspicious. I call him Wheels. But
it's not fair to pick on him.
What's that?
That's not fair to pick on him because he's in a wheelchair. I mean, there's plenty of other things you could pick on him for.
yeah. I don't care if he's an asshole. He's an asshole.
No, I agree. I agree.
And it's not like he was born like that. He was jogging.
Oh, is that what happened? Oh, I think I do remember you telling me that. All right. So then, fair play. Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck him. But it's just. First of all, I just want to bring up the fact that, one, there used to be 4 major leather tanneries in the world that were world famous. One of them was in the US. It closed back in the 80s. So the only one that is superpower, that makes some of the best leather in the world, is actually in Mexico. I'm actually wearing boots from that tannery.
Mm.
But one of the other ones, because there's really only 2 or 3 left, one of the other ones is actually in Taiwan. A lot of people don't know that.
No, I didn't know that.
So when I see boots or whatever, Cebu boots. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. Their boots, they use leather from this tannery, and there's several companies that get it from Taiwan because they're like basically number 2.
So is that the case because it's such a maybe potentially dirty business to own? Or
no, it's just they do it to perfection.
Okay, so they just did it.
The one in
they
Mexico
just basically
has always been the number 1.
So no, but I mean, like, is it one of those things like you used to be able to have places where you could get metal parts chromed in the United States. Well, that doesn't exist anymore, and you got to basically send them to fucking China. So then
it is obviously a much different process, but leather tanning, it's an art form. It's not hard. It's not even labor intensive. It's about they get the first choice of quality leathers and then make them even more perfect.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
So
they just did it. These remaining places just did it better than anyone else and essentially ran everyone else out of business.
Yeah.
Not even, maybe not even
little
trying
known
to.
fact, but cowboy boots, synonymous with cowboying in Texas, it's a Mexican thing.
Yeah, they originated in Mexico.
Originally made in Mexico.
Yeah. Which is why you got a heel, because they all wanted to be a little bit taller.
A little bit taller. Well, you know the reason for that, actually.
No, I would guess it's because of this, where you put
the stirrup.
The stirrup, yeah.
Yeah. They're usually, traditionally they're pointy because it's easier to slide your foot in really quick. And the heel, obviously, to cradle the stirrup.
Yeah, but they didn't they in Mexico get a little bit crazy with how long the toe was, because that was also kind of like saying how big their dick was.
I don't know if he's bringing me gifts or gonna bring in some cows. I don't know what's going on with those shoes.
Yeah, like I've seen them where they had it like the pointy toe was like almost a foot. It might have been a foot long, and it was just ridiculous watching this guy even try to walk.
Those are like high end, fancy fucking cowboys.
Yeah, very expensive.
They're ridiculous looking.
Yeah, he looks like a fucking clown.
Again, I'm not sure if he works for Santa or the local rancher.
Oh, shit.
Mexican cartel. I did not make that joke. That was from Steve Brewer.
Yeah. It was me. It wasn't him. Like they wouldn't be able to tell. I don't know, man. All right.
All right. Now that we're done teasing your news story, because we did not get canceled. We're still in season 1. Go ahead.
My news story. Oh, about the man behind Project 2025. This was it's actually weird because this is not the only story. So it kind of
no. There's a lot of stories lately.
This kind of started a little bit of a choo-choo train on this particular story. So his name's Kevin Roberts, and let me see if I can find the quote here. We are in the process. He's the guy from the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah, the CEO or whatever. President.
Yeah, he is very much the person behind Project 2025's blueprint. And he made a comment on Real America's Voice. We are in the process of the second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be. Okay, so hold that thought. That's what he said. And that was like, I don't know, Sunday or last Sunday, I think, or Monday. It was within the week. And then like 2 days later.
The left says in return, I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah, exactly. So then like a couple days later, Trump disavows this, right? And everyone's laughing about him doing this. He says on Truth Social, he says, I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who is behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. Well, wait a minute.
All right.
So
go ahead,
in the first part of that, he's saying, A, I don't know anything about it. B, what I'm hearing essentially is ridiculous and abysmal. But if they're going to do it, I wish them luck. I don't want to be a part of it. Directly after that, all we're seeing is coming out of the Trump administration is Agenda 47, which is essentially Project 2025 rebranded as a Trump brand. Okay.
Would you like me to tell you why, or rather how I know he is lying?
Yes, please. I mean, I have my own historical memories of seeing those two motherfuckers actually together. But yes, please go on.
Well, you see, in the land of I would call it fantasy land, but this is reality, unfortunately. But history tells us, and when I say history, I mean the last 6 years. Roughly, I think 12 people in his administration are now a part of the Heritage Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 or 4 current Heritage Foundation members who are actually still in his campaign. And this would be a whole lot more convincing from Trump if he hasn't, in the past, and I mean as recently as I think 2019, given speeches in front of billboards behind him that say the Heritage Foundation.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. All right. So
when I say to people, how do you know when Trump is lying? His lips are moving. Yeah. This is one of those examples.
Yes.
He knows who Heritage Foundation is. He's involved with the Heritage Foundation. Don't let him lie to you because he is full of shit.
Well, yes, and yes. And I think that covers all the points you made. Fully agree.
No, wait. Yes.
Yes. So then on top of that, this other story drops. MAGA governors, candidates, some folks need killing rant sparks backlash. Okay, so this is North Carolina Lieutenant Governor. He's running for governor. Mark Robinson is facing backlash for a clip circulating online of the MAGA Republicans saying some folks need killing. In the video, which was taken from Robinson's speech to Lake Church. Okay, so he's saying this in a church. On June 30th, in White Lake, North Carolina, the lieutenant governor speaks about the meaning of upcoming 4th of July holiday and tells those in the audience that freedom is worth protecting at all costs. Robinson's running for North Carolina's gubernatorial election this fall and has been endorsed by President Donald Trump. So now, that's interesting.
My question first, before you get to the next part, What freedom is he speaking of?
I'm not quite sure. But we're going to get there, I think.
Freedom from living?
Yeah. See, he goes on to say, folks, you see, there's a class of people in this nation that want you to forget that. Robinson said during the roughly half-hour speech. They want to control. They want control. They don't care about Democrats. They don't care about Republicans. They don't care about anything. They care about control. Robinson later invoked comparisons to the United States military actions in World War II, saying it was after the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor in December 1941. He says, we didn't quibble about it. We didn't argue about it. We didn't fight about it. We killed it. Some liberal somewhere is going to say that sounds awful. Too bad, Robinson added. Get mad at me if you want to. Some folks need killing. It's time for somebody to say that. It's not a matter of vengeance. It's not a matter of being mean or spiteful. It's a matter of necessity. When they reached out for comment on the video, the communications director for Robinson's gubernatorial campaign told Newsweek that the lieutenant governor was speaking about enemies of the U.S. and allied powers during World War II, the Nazis, and Imperial Japanese Army and Navy. However, here's the thing. He went on to say, let me see if I can skip through here and find it. He went on to say, oh shit, where'd it go? Mark Robinson called public school teachers wicked people. Posted in the past, he's done this, referring to past comments. Now he's saying wicked people need killing as a matter of necessity. Anyone who talks about teachers the same way as he talks about terrorists is too dangerous to be a North Carolina governor. This person added to the quote. So he even went on to say that, and it's not in this fucking article, god damn it, but he did at one point say make reference to liberals in another article I read about this. So I guess the point that I'm trying to show here, more than anything, is that you've got the Heritage Foundation calling for civil or an American revolution, not a civil war. They want an American revolution, and there is a difference. You've got the North Carolina governor or hopeful governor in there saying some people need killing. And, he said rapists and murderers, sure, but he did also make mention of liberals. And then you got Trump pretending he doesn't know any of this. He doesn't know who they are, what they're talking about. This is the playbook. They are saying all the quiet stuff out loud now. And essentially, that guy from the Heritage Foundation, he's basically saying you can either quietly let this happen and do nothing, or there will be blood. I don't even know what to do with that. That kind of level of violent rhetoric. How does that have any place in 2024 in the United States? I just don't get it.
It doesn't. They don't want 2025. They want 1825.
Mm-hmm. No, I think more than anything, they just want power to do whatever they want. And with the Supreme Court doing what they're doing,
it all comes down to power.
Yeah, it's just power grab. This is just a power grab, for fuck's sake. And I don't know, man. Maybe that's a good thing in their eyes. I don't see how it could possibly be anything other than ridiculous. It feels to me, at least, like, when you've got nothing to lose because you're going to lose, then you do anything. And if you're delusional enough to believe that God is on your side, now you have righteous indignation that with God on your side that allows you to break any law, make any threat, behave however you want to, and do whatever it takes for you to win. And
as long as you're a man.
Yeah.
A white man, particularly.
Yeah, because you couldn't go against the women who went against in South Carolina went against the Republican Party. They didn't get they didn't get rehired for that job. And
handmaids don't talk.
No,
learn your place.
Exactly. And again, if you don't think that they're going to come after, if this group, and I include Trump in it as the leader, but if Trump and his cronies, if Trump gets in, women's rights, man, forget it. Right to vote, good luck. You're going to lose that. You're going to lose that. I can see that this is, like I said, I think that we're in a transitional point in this country, and it's either going to go really, really good or really, really bad. And even if it doesn't go really, really good, it just won't be bad. Like, it just won't be horrific. Like, I would settle for not horrific. Not great, but, cities aren't burning, capitals aren't burning, just not great. You know what I mean? Democracy lives on, the republic lives on. We see another day. I don't see that happening, though, if these ass clowns get in. I mean, when you got a governor saying shit like that, or a person, a lieutenant governor who's running to be governor saying shit like that, good God, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
So, look, I think there's hypocrisy in politics on both sides. I think we can all agree to that. However, there's a lot of finger pointing that keeps coming out of, the current Republican Party. You see a lot of them saying things like, the libs are, groomers and pedophiles and, all this type of shit, right? But just recently, a teacher and her best friend, who was also a teacher.
Mm-hmm. I read the story.
Yeah, and they were ride and die together, right? So they both taught, I guess, at the same school. I can't find the fucking article right now, but I'm going off of memory. So if I misquote this, apologies. But essentially, they just got popped. The main one got popped for at least 2 counts, if not more, of sleeping with students. And
main one.
I mean, and the friend,
The other one was a side chick.
yeah, the other one. Oh, we shouldn't
It's
laugh.
like, talk about being a substitute teacher.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Boy.
Your regular teacher who fucks you couldn't be here today, so I'm here to fill in. So, I mean, but that's essentially kind of what fucking happened. And so the main one got hit on multiple counts, at least two, and the other one got popped on one account of being a substitute.
I thought you were going to say she got ball popped from multiple trains. Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, this idea of hypocrisy is rampant. And I think it ties back to what you're hearing coming out of these guys. When you've got a
Look
gubernatorial...
at the Tennessee laws.
Which one are we...
Well, didn't they sign the law in Tennessee where, what was it, 14-year-olds can get married?
Oh,
or
yeah.
something?
I don't think... Was that Tennessee or was that Kentucky? I can't remember which one it was. It was one of them.
What's the difference?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The fact is, it was a red state that's doing this.
Yeah.
And so I'm having a hard time hearing shit coming out of a gubernatorial candidate from North Carolina saying some people need to be killed, and then hearing the Heritage Foundation CEO saying we're in an American Revolution and it will remain bloodless as long as the left allows it to be. You're the problem. You're projecting what you're doing onto other people as if you're not doing it and it's actually them. That's gaslighting to the fucking 10th level, man. That's craziness. And the idea that Trump thinks that he's going to be able to sidestep that bullshit and go, oh, I don't have a Project 2025. I don't know anything about that. I got Agenda 47. Okay, well, still not that great.
They're the same thing.
They are, well, they're very, very close in many ways. In fact, let me see if I can pull this up. Agenda 47. So, just to give people a kind of high view of this.
Wasn't that Roy Combs or whatever his name is? Maybe it wasn't Roy Combs, but
I don't
dude
know.
from a southern state, a governor or something, fond of little girls.
You might be right. I'm not. Oh, you talking the one that was running before but then lost?
I think so.
It was Roy something. Let's see. Sorry. Trying to find this real quick. All right, here we go. I think this is it. If it will fucking load. Okay.
Roy Moore.
So, Agenda 47. First off, Trump is declaring war on cartels. Now, a lot of people forget about this, but he tried pulling this while he was in office and was shut down because they were like, dude, you cannot. That's an act of war against one of our allies. You can't fucking do that. It's also one of our biggest trade partners. You can't just go in and drop missiles, right, on cartels because you get...
Sure you can.
Yeah, what the fuck are you thinking, right? So this is number one, and this is on DonaldJTrump.com. All right, so this is the first one right out of the gate. He's declaring war on cartels, which
I won't defend the cartel, but
no, but are you out of your mind?
The premise of it. I mean,
look,
we could protest this and they'll just shoot us in the legs.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's look at it this way. Let's look at it this way. I'm not promoting or condoning the Italian mafia, but that doesn't mean we have the right to just start dropping bombs on Italy where we think the mafia is. Okay. It
would not be anywhere where they have a good pizza.
No. All right. So next is ending homelessness, veteran homelessness in America. It's a great idea. I don't think he's the guy to do it, though. This is the same guy who said that he was going to get Mexico after apparently, paying for the wall. Then he was going to go and bomb their cartels for them. No welfare for illegal aliens. He wants to create an American academy. plan to revolutionize higher education by shifting excessively large endowments from private universities towards new institutions called the American Academy. I think that sounds a lot like Hitler Youth right there.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, it does. Will the uniform include brown shirt?
I'm sure it will. President Trump's message to auto workers. What's happening to our auto workers is an absolute disgrace and an outrage beyond belief. Auto workers are getting totally ripped off by crooked Joe Biden and their horrendous leadership. I'm sure I'm not remembering this wrong when I say, wasn't Joe Biden on the picket line with the UAW?
Yes.
And wasn't
Not sure how
Trump,
far he walked, but
no, but he was at least on the picket line with them and showing support. And that's the first time a president has ever done that in history. While Trump was doing a staged event to make it look like he was supporting them, but it was a completely staged event.
besides that point, isn't that also saying there's a flaw with capitalism?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that you're right about that.
Just saying. Just saying.
So now President Trump's pledge to homeschool families. In the new Agenda 47 video, Donald J. Trump promised to serve as a champion for American homeschool families. I totally understand why he's doing that, because homeschooling has created, by and large, I won't blanket statement this, but by and large, it has created a lot of fucking stupid children that don't have the education they need and don't end up with the social skills that they need. I mean, there's some times where you don't have a choice but to homeschool. I'm sure that, there are parents out there who take it seriously and have put the time in and created, children that are educated the way they should be. So I'm not shitting on the whole idea completely, but by and large, it seems like most of the homeschooled kids I've run across are fucking stupid and totally socially awkward. But that's just my anecdote based on, my own personal experience.
I gotta say from experience also, homeschooling is horrible. Yeah, I was bullied the whole time.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, it was a teacher.
Oh yeah, she was a vicious bitch. Shit. President Trump's 10 principles for great schools leading to great jobs. I'm not even going to bother with that one because I can guarantee you that one was written in crayon. America must have the number one lowest cost energy and electricity on Earth. I agree. That would be fantastic. However, China is eating our lunch when it comes to that because they are creating more power with solar than they are with anything else. There was a huge story about how they are whipping everyone's ass, and they finally got their solar to the point where it's basically it's the go-to. Returning production of essential medicines back to America and ending Biden's pharmaceutical shortages. Well, hold on. It wasn't Biden's pharmaceutical shortages. And yes, I think that medication should be made in America. I think that the reason that that's not the case is because of, there's a lot of, rules and regulations that they kind of sidestep by doing it in China. President Trump calls for death penalty for human traffickers. Okay. You know what? I don't know that I have a hard time with that one. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. So, okay. Yeah.
Someone calling Matt Gaetz?
Well, that's the thing. If Gates gets, indicted on that and gets charged with that and actually goes down for that, I wouldn't have a problem with the death penalty.
Wouldn't that also include Trump for Melania?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know about that. I think that he actually had enough lawyers to get it done the right way. Rescuing America's auto industry from Joe Biden's disastrous job-killing policies. Joe Biden's created more jobs than any president in history. And even if you call it a COVID bounce back, he still gets credit for it. What Trump did was leave office with not just the lowest job numbers, but negative numbers when it came to job creation. So you cannot tell me that he's going to do a better job. He had that chance and he failed miserably. Fuck you.
Not just that, but left office during his presidency how many times to go golfing.
I think they added it up, and it was about a year's worth of time. And I'm not joking about that. I think that was actually...
And on top of that, the biggest crime, and well, not crime, but scheme, was how much money his companies made off of charging a premium to the United States government for protection and rooms and vehicles to do all of that.
Right.
People don't seem to realize this, but it cost roughly, I think it was $337 million.
I'd like to know that that's an accurate figure, but I don't. I wish I could tell you that I knew that off the top of my head, but that one I don't know. I know it was an astonishing amount of money
that went into his pocket.
Protecting students from radical left and Marxist maniacs infecting the educational system. He's got a lot about education here, if you're noticing this, all right? Which means specifically with the home or America schools or whatever he was calling it.
Indoctrination.
It means indoctrination. For many years, tuition costs at colleges and universities have been exploding, and I mean absolutely exploding, while academics have been obsessed with indoctrinating America's youth. The time has come to reclaim our once great educational system from the radical left, and we will do that. That's what he says. Protecting Americans by taking on big pharma and ending global freeloading. Under my policy, the United States government will tell Big Pharma that we will only pay the best price they offer to foreign nations who have been taking advantage of us for so long. The United States is tired of getting ripped off. Again, I'd
like to point out the fact that one of the biggest ripoffs in pharma is actually insulin. Insulin, which was created in Canada by a doctor who gave the patent to insulin away for, I do believe it was $3.
Right. And
whereas the United States has profited off of this by billions.
And isn't it Joe Biden who got the price of insulin down to $30 for everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure I
think it's technically $35.
Okay. But way better than what it was. Cementing fair and reciprocal trade with the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. Reciprocity.
Does that mean that everything just boomerangs back into his wallet?
Well, under the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act, other countries will have two choices. They'll get rid of their tariffs on us, or they will pay us hundreds of billions of dollars, and the United States will make an absolute fortune. He's living in a delusional world here. If you do that, I'm pretty sure any economist would tell you, you think inflation is bad or was bad, it will be so horrific that it'll cripple the country. Using impoundment to cut waste.
But let's be honest, he doesn't understand how tariffs work.
No, he doesn't. He couldn't possibly. Using impoundment to cut waste, stop inflation, and crush the deep state. I will use the president's long-recognized impoundment power to squeeze the bloated federal bureaucracy for massive savings. This will be in the form of tax reductions for you. This will help quickly to stop inflation and slash the deficit. Again, I'm not
And I
buying
will
it.
have my business manager, as soon as he's out of prison, get on it.
This is a good one. This one kills me. Addressing rise of chronic childhood illness. Too often, our public health establishment is too close to Big Pharma. They make a lot of money. I agree with that. Big Pharma, big corporations, and other special interests, and does not want to ask the tough questions about what is happening to our children's health. This is a guy who eats fast food every day, and he is going to do something about childhood illness.
I want to bring up how I don't remember which college it was, but they won the basketball NCAA.
And he invited them for fast food at the White House.
Yeah, there was a table full of fast food because he didn't want to use the White House chef and create a good meal. So he had Taco Bell, KFC, and McDonald's brought in.
Yep. Ending the scourge of drug addiction in America. Too often our public health establishment is too close to Big Pharma and they make lots of money, but children's health. Okay. And see, this is the same as above. So like he's just repeating on that one basically. Celebration. So
he also had a special dispenser of Diet Coke in the Oval Office.
Well, no, he just had a button that would light up a light for the butler to bring in a Diet Coke. It didn't dispense it.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. And it was as cheesy gets, and it's disgusting that piece of shit sat at that desk. Celebration of 250 years of America's independence at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. Now, this is something I think people forget. Whoever's in office next will be the president that is in office celebrating 250 years of this country's existence. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to back when he was in office, he wanted to do like that kind of Kim Jong-il display of weaponry parade. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So hear this. 3 years from now, the United States will celebrate the biggest and most important milestone in our country's history, 250 years of American independence. That's why, as a nation, we should be preparing the most spectacular birthday party. We want to make it the best of all time. All right. How do you think that's going to work out? I'm guessing if he's in office, you're going to see a military weapon display bigly at the fair.
Bigly.
And perhaps in all major cities. I would see him doing something like that. Day 1, executive order ending citizenship for children of illegals and outlawing birth tourism. As part of my plan to secure the border on day 1 of my new term in office, I will sign an executive order making clear to federal agencies that under the correct interpretation of the law going forward, the future children of illegal aliens will not receive automatic citizenship. I mean, again, I don't even, and this is just part of it. This isn't.
Let me just interject here really quick. The other day, we went down to Rhode Island to see the oldest continuous display of fireworks for the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
It's been going on since 1785 every year. Which is very cool. Interesting to note, one, throughout the downtown area, you know how you have white or yellow stripes in the road, the lanes. Everything was red, white, and blue. Pink.
Oh, that's cool.
And so that was pretty cool. But also, you had police everywhere. And not just the city police. There were military police everywhere.
Really?
Yeah, like every corner, there was a Humvee with military police.
Why was this?
The city police were directing traffic. The military police was there as the police presence. Now, while that might make some people nervous, there was definitely a feeling of, I feel pretty safe. I mean,
yeah, but really, you should be able to feel pretty safe without that.
It was just very like, I live in Texas. I do travel, but I've never seen so much military in one area for a non-military event. It was just very surreal.
So I want to get back to this agenda 47 real quick. Mm-hmm. And there's actually more to it than I actually thought there was. So forgive me for droning on, but it's also a bit repetitive. And so now we made it through the first page and there was only like one or two repetitious kind of ideas there. But this is getting even more repetitive. Protecting students and from the radical left and Marxist maniacs infecting educational institutions. Right? I just read that.
Everything is from the radical left or the liberal mindset.
Yeah. So for many years, this is just a repeat. Ending the nightmare of homelessness, drug addicts, and dangerously deranged for a small fraction of what we spend upon.
Dangerously deranged.
Yeah. Well, who gets to decide that? Because if it's me, This motherfucker is going to get locked up. For a small fraction of what we spend upon Ukraine, we could take care of every homeless veteran in America. Our veterans are being treated horribly. Again, I don't disagree with that, and I don't disagree with that we could do it for a fraction of what we're spending in Ukraine. What I'm saying is that we could do that and still do what we're doing in Ukraine. Whether you like it or not, it's happening. And it's a war of proxy, and we're stuck.
You listen to me, you dangerously deranged.
Yeah. Liberating America from Biden's regulatory onslaught. No longer will unelected members of the Washington swamp be allowed to act as the fourth branch of our republic. I don't even know what that fucking means. Firing radical Marxists and Marxist prosecutors, destroying, well, that right there, radical Marxist prosecute. He's just going to go after the guys that have been going after him. So that's retaliatory. President Trump's plan to dismantle the deep state and return power to the American people. Well, he said he was going to do that the first time, and you can't drain the swamp when you're the one filling it. Ending Biden's war on the suburbs that pushes the American dream further from reach. End Joe Biden's war on America's suburbs in a new Agenda 47 video. Biden's proposed rule that every state, county, and city summit equity plans. It doesn't even make sense. Federal government will push the American dream out of reach. He doesn't even make sense in this. Joe Biden has been a disaster for the economy. Well, no. Preventing World War III. President Trump. Why do they think that it's okay to keep calling him President Trump? He's ex-president.
President Trump.
Former.
I'd like to announce my candidacy for president. And if elected, I am number one in guaranteeing that every child shall attend Harvard or Princeton.
Yeah.
Number two, I will fight the war on pink elephants.
Yeah.
No longer will we have to suffer their flatulence from underneath our seats. That is a guarantee.
So in this one, Preventing World War III explains the difference between globalist establishment class and those who are truly committed to stopping the Ukraine war and dismantling the entire neocon nation-building industrial complex in Washington, D.C. You know, look, when it comes to war, the one thing I will say is that he's very adverse to it. And I do like that about him. I like the fact that he's like, I see the military-industrial complex as a bad thing, and creating these proxy wars and all that.
Put it on parade.
What's that?
When you put it on parade, though, can we get these soldiers to dance and choreograph?
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen the movie Stripes. I know what they could do with those guns.
Yeah, I think that's what he really wants. A new quantum leap to revolutionize the American standard of living. It's time to start talking about greatness for our country again. Well, what the fuck does that even mean? What does that even mean? New quantum leap? Reversing
Is that
Biden.
like replacing Scott Bakula?
Oh, if Trump replaces Bakula in Quantum Leap, I am never watching that again. Reversing Biden's EO embedding Marxism in the federal government. I'm going to just run through these quickly now because now I'm getting bored with it myself. Reclaiming America's independence by slashing Biden's disastrous trade deficit. Trump's new trade plan to protect American workers.
The trade deficit.
This all goes back to...
It's almost like he doesn't remember redoing NAFTA himself.
Right. So this is, again, he's talking tariffs. Protecting Americans from radical leftist ESG investments. He's actually got a lot written on this, but it's not even worth reading. President Trump announces plan to stop America's last warmongers and globalists. I'm going to do that. Plan to end crime.
Warmongers and globalists.
Okay, what?
Says the guy that wants to drop bombs in Mexico.
Right. That's why I say he talks out of both sides of his mouth. I mean, the hypocrisy of it is ridiculous.
Well, one tiny hand doesn't know what the other tiny hand is doing.
In one moment, he says, I want to end wars. In the other one, he's like, we need to rebuild the military and bomb Mexico's cartels. President Trump announces plan to end crime and restore law and order. Oh, we've been waiting for that. You're an amazing, you're Jesus Christ.
It's like watching a weird Swedish chef. Never before have I seen two small little hands doing two different things than the Swedish chef.
He's going to making America energy independent again, stopping Chinese espionage because, he can just do that by saying it. President Trump will build a new missile defense shield, calls for immediate de-escalation and peace, plan to protect children from left-wing gender insanity. And let's see if this is the last page here. Plan to save America's education and give power back to parents, protect Medicare and Social Security, which he won't do. He's already said that, and that's in Project 2025's plan to go after that. Stop China from owning America.
If Trump is a puppet, primarily a Muppet, and let's say Stephen Miller was, the scientist, who would you assign to be the beaker? I'm inclined to say Jared.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, though, it's actually really funny. Jared is beaker. You see it and Jared, the credits would be and Jared as beaker, like the old Saved by the Bell credits.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the Prince of Saudi Arabia, or I should just say Saudi Arabia, they went to Jared.
Yeah, and no one's investigating that shit yet. President Trump will stop China from owning America. He will only allow Russians to, because that's who he sold to. President Trump calls for probe into intelligence community's role in online censorship. Total ban on taxpayer dollars used for free illegal alien and criminal penalty. What? Oh, used.
What?
Total ban on taxpayer dollars used to free illegal aliens and criminal penalties for administrative noncompliance. And then his free speech initiative. I can, without even watching the free speech initiative policy, I am willing to bet that it is free speech for me and not for thee. He will go after anyone in the news media, which, if you can call them that anymore, they're all just shills for one fucking corporation or another. But this is word salad bullshit, top line, crazy promises. I'm going to stop Chinese espionage. Okay, how you doing that? I'd like to hear the whole plan. I think the Chinese would too.
Well, let's face it, this is a giant list for old white men sitting in lazy boy chairs who didn't make it past the third line and fell asleep.
Yeah, I agree. And what I'm seeing, the more I get into this, and again, I have gone to extreme limits to try to defend the Republican Party against just this being like a liberal ideology pile-on. I've even defended some things that Trump has done in the past. I've gone so far as to say a broken clock is right twice a day and use that as the analogy for this presidency or for his presidency. I can't do that anymore after the Supreme Court ruling. I can't.
No.
I can't do that after hearing the head of the Heritage Foundation say what he said. I can't do that after hearing the gubernatorial candidate in North Carolina say what he said. I can't.
Yes.
There's just no way. It's not possible to defend the Republican Party at this point any longer, because now they are all complicit with this. As soon as they make him officially the candidate at their convention, as soon as that happens, every one of those motherfuckers is complicit. And they all deserve to lose their jobs too, because they do not see, if they understand this, which I can't believe these smart people don't see. I can only see them being afraid to go against the bull in the room or the 800-pound gorilla. That's all I see. They're
all bending to kiss the mushroom ring.
Yes, they are. They're all just cozy. Now, it's not such a big deal for Lindsey Graham. He enjoys kissing the mushroom. So that at least is in his favor. And we knew he was a spineless prick for ever since Trump got elected the first time. Same with what's his fuck face from Texas, Ted Cruz. You know what I mean? Like, you get it. We know you have no spine when it comes to this, man, because you're afraid. All right? But at least have the courage to say, I'm afraid. Stop pretending like you agree with all this bullshit. You can't possibly agree with all this bullshit, whether it's Project 2025 or Agenda 47. It's time for these Republicans to get a backbone. They need to stand up. Our republic is at risk. And with that, I think we can put a pin in it. No, I guess not.